Well, good afternoon, everyone. As you know, we're moving forward to not only invoke cloture on the motion to proceed to the House-passed bill that defunds Obamacare, that does not raise taxes, and that respects the top line from the Budget Control Act. Cloture will be invoked on the bill. I will be supporting that, and I think other members of our conference will. And we think basically what the House has sent us is what we wanted, a bill that honored the top line from the Budget Control Act, that didn't raise taxes, and defunded Obamacare.
So what happens after cloture is achieved on the underlying continuing resolution? Senator Reid has set up his red state Democrats to vote once again to fund Obamacare, or to decide they were for it before they were against it and to vote no. So I think the focus needs to be on why isn't it that we can't get red state Democrats who can read the newspaper, watch the television, read the internet traffic just like we can, which shows that Obamacare has been a dismal failure, that if you like what you have, you can't keep it. Rather than see premiums go down an average of $2,500, they've gone up $2,400 for the average family of four. And this is the very reason why organized labor and other ardent advocates of Obamacare are now asking the president and his party for relief. So I think the focus, once cloture is achieved on the underlying bill to defund Obamacare, which we'll have a strong vote on, the question ought to be, why can't red state Democrats listen to their own constituents and to give them and the rest of the country some relief from this bill that is obviously not performing as advertised?
Obamacare and the president's energy policies really are a one-two gut punch to the American economy and to middle-class families. And I want to talk just a little bit about energy, because last week the president announced a policy that is essentially a national energy tax on American consumers. And when you've got an economy where we have the lowest participation rate, labor participation rate, literally in the last 35 years, and you have take-home pay, average household income has gone down by almost $4,000 since the president took office, and 60% of the jobs created this year so far being part-time jobs, you have a pretty weak and sluggish economy. And that's why when the president keeps piling on in the form of Obamacare mandates and requirements, and now a new national energy tax, it will hit middle-class Americans and families squarely in the gut. And that's the last thing that we need right now. We need policies that will get people back to work, that will increase the take-home pay for middle-class families across this country, and will get this economy growing again. And you can do that by permanently delaying or repealing Obamacare. You can do that by passing the Keystone Pipeline, which is something that's been hanging around here for a long time, and according to the president's own State Department would create 42,000 jobs immediately. And you can do it by stopping this national energy tax, which the president's trying to put on the American economy. The American economy and the American middle-class family needs a break from Obama's policies.
Well, one of the papers this morning talked about Obamacare and said one blow after another, and had a little picture of a pill bottle there, and it said promises and reality. And so many of the promises that the president made are just not coming true for the American people. So this afternoon in New York City, the president is going to be the warm-up act for his ambassador, if you will, or his secretary of explaining things, Bill Clinton. So the two of them are going to be in New York trying to explain away all of the problems of the health care law. And I'm calling on President Clinton to actually be honest and apologize to the people who are being hurt by the health care law. That's so many people who had part-time jobs who have had their hours cut. It's so many spouses who have lost, who have received work, who have received insurance through work, who are now going to be cut off of those insurance policies. Also, the young people who are being asked to pay a lot more for health insurance. In many cases, insurance they don't need, they don't want, they can't afford. Even with the subsidies, they're not going to be able to afford them, but they're being forced to do that. and also apologize to the union members who believed the president when he said, if you like what you have, you can keep it and your insurance rates will come down. None of these things have come true, so I'm hoping with both presidents together, they level with the American people and apologize for the damage they've caused.
Yeah.
Senator McConnell, Senator Cruz argues that what he's doing is fighting for a very powerful, very vocal part of your party, and that effectively he's saying the fact that you all are not standing with him means that it's Washington is business as usual. Does he have a point? Are you worried about retribution, especially the two of you who are up for re-election with primary challengers?
Well, look, I think we'd all be hard-pressed to explain why we were opposed to a bill we were in favor of. And invoking cloture on a bill that defunds Obamacare, doesn't raise taxes, and respects the Budget Control Act, it strikes me as a no-brainer. And so I'm not reluctant to explain voting for things that I'm for. That's the way I see it, and I'm hopeful that a majority of the Republican conference will see it the same way.
May I ask you the flip side? Does he just not get it?
I'm sorry?
The flip side of that, may I ask you, do you think that Ted
I
Cruz
can only
just doesn't
speak for
get it?
myself.
Senator McConnell. Senator Reid just said that he would like to extend the CR until November 15th as opposed to December 15th. What do you think about that? Is that something that you all would support?
I think that's something for the majority leader and the speaker to work out as to what is the appropriate time for this extension. And it would basically have to be acceptable to the House and Senate.
Acceptable to you, though, Senator?
And will Republicans, as far as, I know you, in this particular case, maybe you don't control all of them, but will Republicans yield back some time so this gets done sooner than Sunday night over here?
I can, again, just speak for myself. As you know, any one senator can object to any effort to shorten the process. My own view is it would be to the advantage of our colleagues in the House who are in the majority to shorten the process. And if the majority leader were to ask us to shorten the process, I would not object. I don't know who else in the conference may feel differently, but I do know that if the House doesn't get what we send over there until Monday, they're in a pretty tough spot. And my own view is the House, having passed a bill that I really like and intend to support, I hate to put them in a tough spot.
The CR is going to be funded at $986 billion, I believe, which is below the suppressor level of the Budget Control Act.
Well, the
That's
House,
an important victory for conservatives.
yeah, I would prefer the 967 level, but here's the way the House looks at it. They view the CR as an extension of the current rate of spending, the current rate. And the Budget Control Act controls what the top line will be for the next fiscal year. And if that number is not achieved, we will fall back to 967 at the end of the year. My personal preference would be to stay at 967, but they're right when they say that the law is going to push us back to 967 anyway at the end of the year. Thanks a lot, everybody.
On Iran, Senator Cornyn, can I get reaction to the talks?
Senate Republican leaders following their weekly party lunches with news.